Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to say, Merry Christmas. I'll do this recording and then probably not hear from me for a couple days. In any event, I wanted to share a few things that I've seen in visions last week, the 18th and 19th. They came around the same time as that we had the first prayer meeting, and I think that was Thursday. So I had visions of several things. One of them, though, that has caused me concern is this a market crash vision. So I'll share that at the end. Um, and it feels like all of this is tied together. So this is why I'm sharing it this way. It's come over several days, even up till the last vision being today while I was in the grocery store. So on the afternoon of December 18th, I saw God's hands. And you can see them here. He was giving to me the keys. It says the keys of the kingdom. And at first they appeared silver, and then they turned to gold. And then he said, I'm giving you the keys. Whatsoever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatsoever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. And then I saw, as you can see on the other side there, a man with large gloves. He was working in purifying golds, and he took this piece of gold out and of the fire because it was finished. And he said, I'm taking you out of the fire, and my glory will shine upon you. And then so I started reading and studying these verses and the comparisons of these things. So when we read Matthew 16:19, it says, I give you the keys of the kingdom. It could actually be read like keys to the to kingdoms of heavens. And then we can say, whatsoever things you bind on earth, they are already bound in heaven. So because the Greek tense here, when you read in the Greek, that's the tense that is actually saying it in those verbs. And then whatsoever you loose on earth is already loosed in heaven. So this is referring back to this concept that what has happened in the spirit has already happened. Um, and it refers to us being led by the spirit because the spirit is leading. What we end up doing is something that's actually already occurred in heaven. So I just love this connection of what this was teaching me and how it's connected to other thoughts God has shared with me. So heaven is not responding so much to us, but it's us aligning with what is occurring in heaven. So the flow is from heaven to earth and not the other way around. And it just totally reframed that verse for me in my understanding of it. And if you read Isaiah 22:22, the key of the house of David will lay upon his shoulders. So he shall open and none shall shut. Jesus is intentionally in this verse using the Davidic royal language saying, I am the king and I am delegating authority. And this is about stewardship and access. And then we look at the bind and loose. These words didn't originate in Christianity. They're rabbinic legal terms. Bind is to forbid or restrict or declare not permitted, and loose is to permit, release, or declare allowed. And when this is used by the rabbis when interpreting the Torah, you are authorized to interpret and apply heaven's will on earth. Essentially, we can be one of the meanings of this verse. And thy will be done in heaven as it is in earth. Sorry, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven is an authority that comes by alignment and not command. I just like these connections when I was doing this study. And this connection to the Holy Spirit is connected when we pair it with later teachings in John 16:13, when he, the Spirit of truth, has come, he will guide you into all truth. And Romans 8:14, for as many as are led by the Spirit of God are the sons of God. And so Jesus wasn't handing Peter like a rule book when he gave him this verse, because it was obviously a verse that was given to Peter. He was pointing toward a spirit-led discernment. And I love this connection because this is the way I feel so strongly is that Jesus, he didn't give them a law. He gave them actually very little to go by in many ways. And he wanted them to truly heavily rely on the Spirit. And this is the path of faith that God is calling us into following him by faith. Binding and loose and we loose and loosing, binding and loosing with the Spirit, that becomes life. And again, it repeats similar concepts in John 20:23 about remitting and sins. It's speaking with the same authority. Now, another connection I found was in Matthew 5, verse 3, which is, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And in the Greek, and again, this came to me again, it was something I heard. I don't know if it was in a vision or a dream that I heard this, and it was pointing me to this verse. But in Greek, blessed means happy, fortunate, prosperous in a spiritual sense. So it isn't referring to a future kingdom because the verb tense means they are already this way in a descriptive way. The words poor means literally beggars. So like those who are truly dependent and have nothing in themselves. Um, and not financial poverty, but rather spiritual poverty is what it's pointing to. So meaning we lean entirely on the Spirit of Christ. So that is walking not by sight, but walking by faith. So in the same connection to these other things I was reading and the visions I had, then so we have nothing to offer God, and we fully relinquish self-righteousness, self-sufficiency. And if we look at the Greek again, theirs is belonging, possession, identity, meaning it is currently the case. And the heavens is kingdom of the heavens. So putting this together, we could say joyful and secure are the spiritual beggars because to them belongs the kingdom of the heavens. And I just like that whole study and what God was sharing in it. Now, on December 19th, I had a vision as I prayed after the prayer meeting, and I had a vision of someone whose eyes were opened, and it was the first time they were seeing in the spirit, and it wasn't both eyes; they had one eye only open. So it's what shows up there in the image there, and they were fearful though. So I saw them, and when I saw them, they were fearful. So I started praying for them that they would have a spirit of calm, and and that they would have peace. And then I could see that the expression on their face changed, and it became more calm and just awe and full of joy, rather than what they had been feeling when they first started to see. Um, so I wonder, it's curious. I wonder if that actually was something where someone was actually experiencing that, but because I prayed for that on the live. And then that was on Thursday, I think, during the live, I saw heaven coming to earth and a host of angels singing. I'm going to just change this background to show you a bit of what I saw. I mean, you can't ever represent it fully, as you know, but try to give some sort of understanding of it. So I was in the supermarket then today. This is the last vision that I had and this is just an hour or two ago. And And when I was doing this, because this morning I was really struggling with something. It's like when you get victory and then the enemy comes and he tries to take away the victory that God gives, and he tries to take away the joy from what God has shown and revealed. And so this is something that I've experienced many times. So I understand it, but at the same time, I need to get my spirit and my emotions changed. So praying to God to help me with that. And he had changed me by this point. When I had this vision, I had been changed again and renewed. So I just had this feeling that I had there was a marker in time almost where it was marking a completion of an era or a phase, like part of a final test was passed. And that was a sense of that vision. And of course, just really appreciated it. And then so I was asking about market crash before falling asleep, and this was like December 19th, the same night I had the other vision. And because I wasn't sure, God has shown me that there'll be a crash several times, and I guess one of them he showed was it'd be a 30% drop. That I think has already occurred pretty much. But this other one was much more severe, and it was across the board. And in any sense, I was just wondering about it. So I was asking God about it. And then what I saw was this helicopter. I think it's in the other backdrop that I had. And it's a helicopter with a bomb strapped around it. And I just felt like there was a ticking time bomb um, that was going to cause a market crash that would be perhaps dramatic. Because if a helicopter were to explode, there would be nothing slow about that. It would be very quick. Um, in any event, that was the thing I wanted to share. And it feels, because I've seen price points on different things, both silver, um, and many other current, not currencies, the cryptocurrencies. That's where I've had this wondering, like, when will this happen? It feels like it all happens at the same time. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I'm just trying to understand it more myself. And God felt He was leading me today to share this with you because it was important. And I've actually noticed, I haven't listened to others, but I've noticed that others have been, at least in their titles, been mentioning something like this. So I wonder if there's something that is being shared across the community that God is trying to make us be aware of. So I hope that was helpful. Hope that blessed you. And please have a very, very good holiday. And we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for listening. Take care.